I need new hair by the end of this, like a hair transplant. I've lost all my hats, I can't find one. And my head's just been burning for days. Anyway, we've left Lerins Islands, just there. I'll get onto this DIY, unless, did I do it already? I can't remember what I recorded. We're going to Port Canico, just over here. And we've put in a little bit of Genoa up. We can't put it up properly because the tack's in, so we've left it wrapped around quite a bit, just so it's just giving me probably a 1 knot boost, to be honest. I need to get there and get stuff done. I'm quite happy with the white paint on the inside, and I'm not sure I should admit that, but I'll show you when I've finished it. I need to add another layer, but it's looking pretty. It's like transformed what looked rubbish for a long time very easily into, yeah, ideally I'd have nice varnished wood there, but the amount of, I remember when I did the Viva and started it and I really regretted it, so yeah. Another thing, since half doing the hull I've got to go under once more, but I scraped it. The boat is moving a lot quicker through the water, like a lot quicker, so I'm looking forward to having a sail with both boats. So I've got to get these boat trips out of the way, then get back to my anchor, and then get focused on sorting that front sail out, getting the tiller autopilot attached. These boat trips will mean I have enough money to survive comfortably for the rest of the month, so that'll be nice to not be like poor for the rest of the month. And you know, there's a few other fireworks, so maybe some of them will come up. They're the sort of boat trips people want to book around here. Not this nice sailboat. No, to be fair, someone said to me the other day, you've gone from you have in an unknown place really, because as I've said before, when I worked I was in that bubble, but I've gone from that to being in an unknown place and actually finding ways to make a living, so, while still being on the boat, so that's quite good. Anyway, I'll save some of the battery for when I get in. That's the swell coming for me. Oh. I've got the sail down already. Right, this is one of them ports, so I've just rung up because you have to book online, which in itself, everything about this port doesn't make sense. You've got to make the reservation online, you can't call up and make the reservation. So if you're out on the boat and you need to get in there, you can't do it without messing around, signing up and filling out a form online, which I don't really think that's the most ideal way of doing things. Pause that for a second, look at that boat. Wow, that's very pirate ship-like. Anyway, so I've just called to at the entrance of the port. I've already made the reservation. You need to call on channel 9 and we'll give you the berth number. So I'm like, can I just call in the welcome dock first, and then no, you need to call on the radio on channel 9 when you're out at the entrance of the port. And I am effectively now at the entrance of the port. What happens then is she's going to give me a number over the phone, and you know, Navionics, whatever you use, doesn't have a map of the port, so you end up in a very tight space usually trying to work out where you've got to go whilst being surrounded by really big expensive boats. And you know, I need to move the dinghy from the back to the front of the boat, so I'm going to just go to the welcome dock, I think. No, because then I'm going to get told off. I'm going to go to the fuel dock where I'll also probably get told off, because I'm not actually getting fuel, but I don't know, they just make it really difficult. Like, let me just go into the welcome dock, go in. That's what I've done, like that's the normal way to do it, because I don't have a map, so when she goes F224, I have no idea where F224 is, and not every port shows you in the little book, marine, whatever it's called, book, which one's which. And she's not offering to send someone out to help me get in, and There's nothing worse than when someone comes to help you get in. They rush you, it's just not fun. Anyway, that's that ramble. It's not quite over. To radio, like I have the radio, I can get the thing just round out the thing. But when you're in an entrance to a port, you want to be concentrating. The last thing you want to be doing is trying to focus on what someone's saying on the other end of the radio. Like, it's silly. So I'm gonna do whatever I think is for the best. And if they get annoyed, they get annoyed. It's not like we're running out of ports to go into, is it? Now we're going in circles around the entrance of the port. Yeah, Luc de Mer.
Yes, it's okay for moving. Please come inside and you stand up.
Merci. So apparently when I get in, they're going to come and help. I'd just rather them tell me the number. Honestly, I hate it when this happens. They don't... What, not this boat, the one I had before, I crashed because someone was helping. Literally, he was at the front, so he was like, and then I hit the front because instead of running to the front to stop the high wall there, he was there and my boat just hit the wall at the front. So, and I like to go look, see where it's going so I can plan the whole like manoeuvre. Halfway in and there's no one here, and that whole welcome dock there is just empty. Like, oh. I'm now middle of the port. I'm going to end up having to work out where to turn around like super quick. I've already put the dinghy now to the front because sometimes is that in there untying? No, I don't know. He's like miles in front. I think he's getting a bit impatient with me. Like, what do you want me to do? Put a sail on, catch him up. So I made it in, got my spot, and when I got there, I remember obviously didn't record it, but I got there and there was a girl on the dock, and yeah, she went to. I went in and they always look like panicking with the lines. Normally like an apprentice who's working at the port, and panicking with the lines, and then I just landed it in the spot perfectly, and then they were like, oh, like, yeah, so yeah, I got in. But that whole thing's a nuisance the way they do it. It's just, you end up just coming in and not having a clue where you're going, and the problem is if you start turning down, like, if you go so far in, you don't know if you're going to be able to easily turn around, and having to stop dead and reverse a boat is not fun. So anyway, yeah, a few days later. Man, trying to live your life in a swell sometimes is really difficult. I think I have more blonde hair now than I have brown hair. It's so hot, and we have... I'm going to tell you a bit more later on about yesterday's charter, boat trip I'll call it, because I don't feel comfortable saying charter. But there ended up being some unexpected wind, and yeah, I'll tell you more about that later on. Anyway, that was yesterday. Today's the 14th of July, which in France is Bastille Day, and it's the first fireworks. So I've actually somehow got 8 people booked on tonight for a firework trip. I'm not sure if my boat is too small to try fit 8 people, but you know, the time I can earn money doing this is quite limited, and I'm around all month for that purpose. So I'm going to try it. If I feel that it was a mess, I just won't charge everyone as much, but it's the only way I've got to like earn money at the minute, really. Anyway, Yesterday's trip involved me doing food, and the food was quite good, but I had some I made like a red snapper, and it was going to be a red snapper curry, and I resisted the urge to just like maximize profit and make my usual calamari curry and get some good fish, but I'd asked for it to not have bones in, and then there was bones in it, and I cooked it. And anyway, I'll explain all of that about that trip another time. But because I did food, this is how hot it is. But because I did food, the boat just got in a mess, and then we had to go back in like a fairly strong wind, and I had to run the motor for ages, and my leak still exists. So now I've got very little time before I pick up today's half-day boat trip at 1 o'clock. It's now like 11. I've still got to get over to where I'm picking them up from, and I've just got to try and make the boat look presentable again. I feel like last night, like after doing the trip, when I got in, I didn't then get back to anchor till about 11 o'clock at night, and I just wanted to sleep really. And then this morning there's that much to do that it's a bit full on, and I know you might, yeah. Yeah, I'm a bit tired, it's, you know, these have come out of nowhere really, and I've been for like a week really busy trying to get everything sorted for them. Anyway, this I could do without this. So I've got a little pump, but the problem is because it's moving. Oh no, we're all right. Right, so we're gonna pump it out with that somehow. Need that to stop. 10 hours later, I have all the water out. What I should do is record an alternative to this video where I do what it could look like if I weren't showing you all of this bad stuff. That'll be someone's wake, that will. That someone will have gone flying past the anchorage. Oh man! Alright, so now I'm getting a little agitated there, but how on earth did that tin of peas manage to like fall off? I think it was a tin of peas, fall off the shelf, go straight down that thing, and then another little bit of wake closed it inside the thing. That was a stressful morning, I remember it well. This is like more water than usual. I might book a little trip to Iceland because it'd just be really nice to be cold for a little bit. It's so hot, like to get out of the sun I have to come into the boat. I don't have like a shade outside, but then inside the boat it's so warm. I've only pumped one of these like 6 compartments, and the amount of water, it's crazy. I could, and I was gonna, if you remember, add an automatic switch to the bilge pump, so that the problem is when I'm concentrating on moving and the engine's on, I forget to come inside and keep making sure I've pumped it. So, oh, I need to fix the leak so that it doesn't happen. stressed. The summer, honestly, has been. The weather's been worse than the winter. I genuinely mean that. The wind's been really unpredictable. In the winter, you knew what you was getting. It felt like, and yeah, you'd get the mistrals and they'd be really strong, but you knew you were getting them. Yesterday on a charter that I did, the wind didn't do what it said it was going to do, and I spoke to someone after, and they said that it was doing, at points it was doing 40 knots, which, you know, my Sailing for Dummies book says anything more than like 18, if you're not an absolute professional, stay where you are. Anyway, what happened was we came out, I picked them up, stayed the night in the port, picked them up in the morning, brought them over, everything was going alright, but you could feel the wind picking up. And I don't really sell it as a sailing trip because the distance just, if the wind's coming straight towards you, by the time you've tacked around, and obviously the boat is only half sailable, so the wind picked up. Luckily, as we was coming towards the island, the mistake I made was I asked them where they wanted to anchor. So lesson one to myself, don't give that choice. Like, I need to decide where to anchor, where's the safest. Yeah, a bit more on that later on, or it might have even been before this video. It depends what order I've edited it, but I just wanted to get picking the GoPro up again because it's really easy not to do it now because I feel quite busy, and this will wear off, but it will have made me enough money to make some improvements to the boat that I need to make, so that's good. Anyway, today I'm late. You've seen I've had to pump all that water out of the boat. Inside's not perfect, all of the washing up's gone into a black bag. I'm not throwing it away, I just haven't got time to wash it up yet. And I've booked a place in the port again for tonight because I'm actually taking 8 or 9 people on a firework Bastille sunset boat tour, so that's after the one that I'm on my way to do now. Yeah, so we're at Lerins Island, so we're just getting into the channel. The issue over here is a lot of shallow water, so you have to be quite careful in what you're doing. I was using Navionics on my phone, and then it's just told me the batteries, the temperature's too hot and it's not doing all. So hopefully it's not another phone gone. But when we had the storm the other day, I've already mentioned we lost the halyard for the mainsail. So what I'm going to have to try do today is either cancel it, but the person who's booked this trip for the people said they just want to go out on a boat for a bit and see what it's about. So there's not this big pressure that it's got to be a full-on sailing trip. But the Genoa's not in properly. I used it a little bit yesterday, like semi unfurled, and it worked all right for a little bit, but it's not connected properly. So today what I'm going to have to do is my old friend, the mainsail, on its own. It's not that windy, but the problem is if I go over there just off the motor, I'm not going to get there in time. So the plan is, let me just I think I need a new throttle. It's really hard to get it, so it's not on full blast, and as we know, it overheats if it's on full blast. Right, we're just coming into the channel. You've got to follow the red buoys along if you do what you're meant to do, but we're English, so I better I'd do what I'm meant to do, otherwise it'll be me that gets stopped. I'm going to connect the main sail to the one that holds the boom usually. So I'm going to get the boom central, tie it down, and then from the cockpit, because that line runs back here, I'm going to lower it while still then being able to control the boom, because otherwise the boom's just going to be flying around, not connected to anything. So we're going to see if that works, and I'm going to practice it on the way over before I obviously have people on board and see how it works. And then yeah, probably won't make it into the place I've got in the port because I've not got time, so I'm going to pick them up from the welcome dock, bring them over towards the island. It's quite a swell coming from the direction I've got no reason to be coming from, but hey ho. And don't want to beat into that for too long. It's all go. Anyway, I'll put the GoPro back on when I'm trying to put that sail up. I hate this part of the world. It's such a beautiful part of the world, but there is just complete everywhere. Alright, go try and take the rest of it down. I mean, this is making me stressed just watching it back. If you're wondering what happened there, because I'd lost the halyard, I think I kind of explained, but because I'd lost the halyard, I had to use the halyard, which then isn't called a halyard, but the one that keeps the boom in place, preventer, and I had to put that onto the front. And at that point, I tried to do it. I've learned since a way to do it, which will come up in the upcoming videos. But at that point, I didn't. I just kind of let it drop and tried to raise the mainsail. But the bigger problem was just in that channel, there was just constant wake. So that's what happened. Somehow, we've made it on time. I've had to start wearing my hat the normal way because I'm just constantly burnt. I'm going to stop moaning. This is not a bad thing. Like, to have back-to-back boat trips, like 3 in the space of 2 days, that's more than one a day, so that's good. Yeah, I've just asked if I can, I've paid for a night at the port, so I asked if I can just pick my people up from the welcome dock rather than me have to go all the way in, put the dinghy to the front, reverse into the spot, tie up properly, just to then come all the way back out. And they said if I wanted to do that I have to request it by email. This is the strangest port I've ever known for stuff like that. Anyway, I'm gonna have to go into the spot. Yesterday again got something wrapped around the prop and I've cut it off, but I haven't fully got it off the prop because I had to do it in the middle of the channel in the waves. And because I had people on board obviously picking up the GoPro when they was probably having a bit of a panic, maybe wouldn't have been the best idea. So I didn't get it on video, but I will get on video me going and doing the rest of it. Anyway, before going into the port, I've just checked that it will go into reverse because it's around the shaft. But the propeller is still turning, but I have had it before where then when I put it into reverse I thought it was alright and then it stopped. And if I do that in the middle of the area where I go around and then reverse in, you can tell I haven't used the GoPro for ages. Like I've like lost practice of speaking into it. But yeah, I've just put the boat into neutral out here and then put it into reverse just to check that it is going to reverse in, because that's the last thing we want. Yeah, it's all very nerve-wracking. It's one thing when it's just me. When there's other people, it's it's really nervy. Like obviously they're going to be safe. If something went severely wrong, I would call a mayday and do what's best. But yesterday, for example, when I had to come back in the strong wind, if I was just on my own, I'd have waited it out. So it's quite difficult because then people have their requests. Looks like a spaceship. Anyway, Port Pierre Canto. I feel like I'm more scared when I'm close to things. When I'm not, I have like a bit of time. I've lost practice of coming into ports. So you're meant to stay to the right. They're literally coming straight towards me. They've moved over now, but there'll be a bunch of young people on a rented boat and they'll be taking it in turns to steer and none of them will actually know what they're meant to be doing. So yeah, there they all are having a sunbathe. Probably should have grabbed the t-shirt before coming in. So it literally says stop and go and they're all at stop and go. Why am I not allowed? So did I make the boat charter? Yeah, so if following this, I'm going to show you a little video that I made from that boat charter. And if you'd like to support, I'm going to put the link to that page in the description. And if you want to go on and give it a like for me, or even a review, not sure that's alright to do, but yeah, that would help a lot.